Hi guys, Luke here of SimBoxx. Welcome to part two of our Road Warrior series, in which we're shining a light on the away fighters. These guys that make up the numbers on the shows up and down the country, week in and week out, sometimes to little or no fanfare. And we think it's only right that we get their stories out there. I'm delighted today to be joined by an absolute legend of the game, a veteran of way over 100 fights in Lewis Van Poetsch. Poochi, how are we doing?
Good, Luke. Thanks for having me on, bud.
No problem. Thanks for your time. So, yeah, we just get straight into it, Lewis. We'll go with, why did you decide to box on the road?
So I sort of knew the pro game a little bit before I turned pro, because there was a lad from Lydney called Chris Higgs that was a pro, and he actually grew up on the same road, which is a small world. And he grew up on the same road. I just go watch him fight in the pro game, and I sort of knew how the pro game worked in the way of how they sell tickets and how you fight and all that sort of stuff. But I was a bit naive as to how the away fighters operated. So then, like Chris was fighting people like Daniel Thorpe, a few like foreigners which had come over, and I just thought like the foreigners got brought over to lose, but the English lads, like I didn't know that's how they operated. So then I started fighting in the home corner. Just sold loads of tickets on my debut. Second, any pro will tell you this. For the debut, you sell hundreds of tickets, and then second fight, it starts going down a little bit. And then I got a call up a manager at the time, and so you said, "Do you want to fight on Friday?" Last minute phone call in London, and my reply was, "How the hell do you want me to sell 100 tickets in 4 days in London?" He went, "No, you're the away fight. You just turn up and fight." So I was like, "Oh, all right, cool." So that's what I did. I went up there and beat the kid up and won, and then got paid at the end of it. So I'm sitting there thinking, why the hell would we run around selling tickets? Well, I could literally just turn up and fight.
Fantastic. So the first fight, we'll go into the second question in a second, but one that I wanted to expand on there, the first fight that you had as an away fight, you actually picked up a victory in that fight.
Yeah, I beat him up. Scrapper Smith, his name was. So just took a last minute phone call. Nice kid, but he wasn't up to much. And I had my way from opening bell, really. Mickey Van, the referee, give me a wave around.
Fantastic. So, like I say, way over 100 fights. I think it's around 135 fights to be exact. Shows up and down the country, big shows, little shows, small shows, and everything in between. Poochi, what is the biggest and best show you've boxed on in your career?
I boxed at the O2 Arena. It was meant to be an AJ card, but he pulled out, so it was a Kevin Mitchell card in the end. I think it was the fight before he fought Linares, but I think it was final eliminator for that. So that was good. I fought the MEN Arena a couple of times. I really like it, the MEN Arena. Like, Manchester's a good city, good fighting city, and I really enjoyed that. But I've been to watch a lot of fights at the MEN as well. So to fight there was really nice. I haven't been too many big arenas. The Copper Box, the O2, the MEN. I think that's it in terms of like big, like iconic British arenas. Well, I had a big pay-per-view event in Norway, which was good. So that was big, like mega jumbotron, big arena, similar to like the Copper Box sort of thing, probably a bit bigger. So yeah, that was a good one. Big pay-per-view event. Pay-per-view Poochi pay-per-view.
It's got a ring to it. Of all the guys that you fought, again, prospects, and some guys have gone on to great things, and other guys were found out. But who was the biggest puncher that you faced so far in your career?
It's hard to say this because, like, I've only been stopped legitimately about 4 or 5 times, and a few of those times were early on in my career when I used to drag myself down to 154. But I took a last minute fight against Joe Pigford. Dragged myself down to, I feel like I was meant to be 154, but I think I got to about 158 or something like that. Like just did as much as I could. I got in there, I felt horrendous. I couldn't even eat my dinner. I was that weight drain. I'd done the weigh in. I couldn't even eat. I was too knackered. And yeah, so then he caught me with a shot early and maybe do the Elvis Presley. So I think maybe him really, because like even I fought weight trained a lot of times before that, and had never done that before, and I took a bit of a sabbatical from boxing for a little bit, and I stepped in for my first fight back. Was against Darryl Williams at my first fight at 168. So like, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna handle myself at this weight class. And fucking just winged right hand over the top and just like, doing the Bobby Sherman all the way down. Yeah, so then went down, got up, and Kieran McCann, who's a good referee, and I could probably consider him a bit of a friend within the boxing circles. He sort of gave me the look. He was a bit like, "Don't think we should carry on this fight." And I sort of like gave him the I was not quitting, but it was a bit like, "You make the call. I'll quite happily fight on," but like, he went, "Nah, I tell you what, I'm just waiting the fight off." So I reckon out of those two, Darryl Williams and Joe Pigford, maybe. Yeah.
So we know with some of these questions that some of the answers may overlap. You might have the same answer for different questions. As we move into our next question, which is, who do you believe is the most skillful boxer you faced in terms of a really tricky, slick operating? You've had a really tough night's work. Who was the most skillful boxer you faced?
There's top two out of this question. That's Lerone Richards and Zach Parker. I fought Zach Parker on his debut, and he stopped me on a cut, which I was a bit annoyed about because I gave him a good fight. I think he was obviously levels above me, and sort of did what he wanted in there. It was really hard to catch him with anything. But he caught me with a right hand, right hand on top of the eye. It cut me, and Terry O'Connor stopped it the round after. I think it was the fourth round of a four-rounder, which is a bit annoying. But Lerone Richards, like, I fought him just before I think he was signed with Warren, but he was having a stay busy fight on an MTK show. And I took the fight like the week's notice because Richard goes, "Oh, Anthony Fox has fought him," and Anthony Fox at the time was, he still is a journeyman really, but he's not. If you know what I'm saying, like he's an away fighter, but he's not. He's a lot better than his record suggests. Anyway, I'm digressing. Rich goes. Rich is Farner, who's my manager, by the way. Rich said, he's a good kid, but I think you just keep moving, you'll be all right with him. But I just couldn't get near him. Every time you throw a punch, it would land, and I'm like, I'm quite good defensively. And he was just like, I was in fifth gear going backwards, and he was just cruising. Took me to the third round, and the referee, at the time, I think he might have been a trialist ref, is Mark Bates. He's licensed referee now. He's a very good ref, might I add. But I think he was flapping a little bit in the terms of like I hadn't got near Lerone for the whole fight, and he kept saying, "Show me something." And like me being me, I was going, I'm trying, like with a smile on my face. And I think he might have took that as a bit of attitude or something. Maybe he stopped the fight in the third because Lerone had caught me with a shot, and it did hurt me. It made my legs buckle. I tucked up straight away. I was riding the shots. I was about to grab and move, which you should always do when you're hurt. But he stepped in, just put an arm across, stop, and that was it. But like I said, nothing against Mark, nice bloke, good referee. But I think he made a wrong call there. But I'll always say that.
always going to have that kind of mindset. But the next question is counterbalancing that previous question in terms of from the most skillful to the most overrated. Poochi, who is the most overrated boxer that you've been in there with? With all due respect, you've got in there, you may be like a highly touted prospect or the next big thing, and you thought, that's just not for me. It's that he's not as good as what I thought he was going to be.
Don't know. There's a few. I don't want to drop anyone's name in it because it's a bit harsh, isn't it? But a lot of these lads fancy themselves and they take themselves quite seriously. And like sometimes, not every time, but sometimes I'll scout them out. If I've got word that they're quite good, I'll scout them out online. Just to have a look, see what I'm dealing with. Just 10 seconds of a fight or something to see what they've got. And then but then like you get in there and it's just like I don't know why I was worried about this fight. And there's a few that there's probably more than you'd like to know about, to be honest, as a fan and a journalist. But I don't know. I couldn't pinpoint one, and I don't really want to upset anyone, so I'm gonna bypass that one.
That's a politically correct answer. We'll move on. Poochi, a bit more personal question here. What's your biggest motivation in boxing? What gets you going? What keeps you moving forward and taking these fights week in, week out? What's the biggest motivation in your career?
So I sort of made a bed for myself as a journeyman and Mr. Reliable. That's what Christian Late used to call himself. So I like to think I've taken on that tag. Like a phone call rings, I take the fight. So I sort of made my bed there, and I'm happily lying in it. It's that if a phone goes, I'll take it. So that's a motivation for me, is like just being that port of call, which is sort of bit me in the ass a bit now, because like I should take any fight I could and play the game for all these people. Now the pandemic's here, and they're either picking journeymen who know they're not going to put up a fight, or lads with a winning record. Yeah, but I don't know. I love the tag of being a professional boxer. Like, I love the conversation of being a journeyman, explaining what a journeyman is and raising awareness for it. But yeah, I don't know. Look, that's probably my motivation, is just the fact that I can call myself a professional boxer and that sort of thing. And obviously the other stuff that goes along with it. I love the entertainment. I love the ring walks. I love being an entertainer. I love making people laugh. It's a bit David Brent, but yeah, I do make people. I love making people laugh, and I'll say I'm a entertainer first and the boss second.
That's a great answer. Moving forward, it kind of goes hand in hand with that question previously. But what's your biggest achievement so far in boxing? What do you believe is your single most standout moment? Is it a victory? Is it the fact overall, as you say, being a professional boxer? Is the one fight that stands out above all others? What's your biggest achievement so far?
So initially, so there's a few in this bracket. I think my making as soon as I was an amateur, and I started watching Friday night fight nights. Like, it was I think it was Ian Dark and Jim Watt on the commentary. So I was watching like the Frank Warren promotions on Sky. Fighters like Matt Marsh, Tony Bellew, Brian Rhodes, all those sort of people. And I always thought I want to be a professional boxer. And I was like, and then as I sort of got to learn the fight game a bit more, the amateur side of it, I'm not very tall, as you know. So like that catch and touch style isn't very, very good for me. And I used to lose a lot of fights in the amateurs because I'd move my head, winging shots into the body, and they weren't scoring because it was computer scoring back then. Yeah, so then I always thought I've got a style to be a professional. Like, I like to plant my feet. I don't really like dancing I'm quite light on my feet, but like I'd rather stand my ground and move my head and all that sort of stuff. So I knew that I'd be an half decent pro. So becoming a professional boxer is probably my first accomplishment, which I got under my belt. So selling about 130 tickets as well on my debut was an accomplishment in itself. And then I'm not really sure, just sort of ticking boxes, like we said earlier, finding the big arenas. I went to the show at the O2, won a box here one day. Went to a show at the MEN, won a box here one day. So I've done that. But then I won. So in the southern area, I'm not sure if the other areas do it, but the southern area run an award on their annual award ceremony called Best Supporting Boxer of the Year, and I won that. And I got to go to the event. Like, I go to the event every year anyway, but I got to go up on stage, do a speech. I had the crowd laughing. Like, yeah. So I'd say I'll put that one at the moment is my highlight in my career, winning that, being recognised for what I do, and I'm making people laugh on stage.
Fantastic. It's really nice to hear. This next question, you might have to put your pride to the side for a quick second, but is there anybody out there that you wouldn't fight? If there was a fight offered that you just thought, that's not for me, I'm not taking that fight? Is there anybody out there that you just wouldn't fancy taking on? Obviously, in and around your weight class. We're not talking maybe Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua or anything like that. Is there anyone out there that you wouldn't fancy fighting?
Don't really know. So Mark Efron would be a tough night's work, wouldn't it? Someone like that. That'd be a tough night's work. But I'll still give it a go. Not really sure, Not really sure. There's not one person I'd say, "Poor, avoid him like the plague." No one really. But that's just me. Richard's got other ideas with that. There's when he was on the way up, I kept getting asked to fight Denzel Bentley, and I said yes every time. But Rich was like, "No, you're not fighting him." I was like, "Why? I'll take him the distance." And then like I made a deal with Rich that if Gomez can take him the distance, and I definitely can. Nothing. That's not slating Gomez, but like me and Gomez are cut from the same cloth. Is what I mean by that. Then I was like, if Gomez taking the distance, then I definitely can. So then he takes me the distance. I was like, well, let's fight him then. It's a good little payday. We'll be on BT Sport. And Rich's like, nah, we're not having it. So that's probably the one fight that me and Rich have come to blows with. not even come to blows, but disagreed on.
Fantastic. Next question is, if you could get in there and box anybody and test your skills against absolutely anybody, win, lose or draw, who would you most love to fight?
Well, the money fight's Canelo, isn't it?
That's too easy of an answer.
Hey?
Too easy of an answer that to go with the money, but who am I to argue with that?
No, maybe like any era, any.
Yeah, whoever any idols, any heroes, anybody, whoever you'd fancy to get in there most with.
Hatton was always my idol growing up, so I'd love to just have a little body spark with him. That'd be great. But yeah, maybe Ricky Hatton. Just like maybe I'd love to see how good up close Floyd Mayweather is. Like I'm a big fan of Floyd as well. Maybe I'll tell you what actually, but being like a bit of a defensive guy myself, Pernell Whitaker. But I'd love to just like try and land a glove on him.
That's it, fantastic. Final question, Poochi, is one that I've brought in specifically for this interview, and it'll be one that I'll be using moving forward. And it's, given that you're so experienced, you've had so many fights, is there any pre-fight rituals or any pre-fight superstitions or anything like that that you follow before your fights?
No, nothing. Say like it's not a ritual, it's became more of a routine. It's like weigh in, leave the venue for a few hours to go for a Nando's. But that's about it. But no rituals or nothing, no special pants, no nothing. Just just get on with it. The only ritual is try and get the whip to get us on first. That's it.
Fantastic. Poochi, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you today as part of the Road Warriors series. It's a really fascinating insight. Thank you for your time today. Is there anything you'd like to add to finish?
No, maybe it's like matchmakers. Like I'm still here. I'm still asking for fights. I'm being overlooked at the moment, it seems. I'm not really sure what's happening out there. But the matchmakers, even the matchmakers that normally use me a lot, are looking over me, and I'm not too sure why. I'd love to know why. So that's it. And that Tommy Fury fight, now he's not going to fight Jake Paul. Steve Finesse, you know where I am, mate.
Let's get it out there. We'll get it out there. We'll get Poochi a fight, and SimBoxx to be right behind there, trying to push for you to get the recognition you deserve, of course. But yeah, thanks for your time today, and I'm sure we'll catch up again in the future. Thank you.
Yeah.